Hello everyone, and welcome back to Misfits Racing League action. We are here for another round of 5 races. It is the week of Mexican Grand Prix racing here for Misfits Racing League, and joining me to kick off all the action, as always, Unicorn. It's the European division. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing well. We're in the final 3 races now, and well, the EU grid, so we're still yet to be decided on. Well, we're getting close, but we're in the final 3, and well, Mexico, an exciting track, an exciting prospect for how this is going to go, and I'm looking forward to it.
I'm beyond excited for Mexico. Mexico, a circuit that we haven't seen too much in Misfits Racing League. We've had Tier 2 and Tier 1 around here last season. We didn't have it in the first season, and well, it's a long way to get to this circuit. 17 turns, 4.3 kilometers, the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez here in Mexico City. It's a very unique circuit, very high altitude, I suppose, considering it's one of those circuits where the cars struggle around here. I don't think we'll see that come into play too much in a virtual space, however. If they did that, that'd be crazy, but let's take a look. Mexico, round 15 here for the European split. Brazil coming up next week, of course. That's an iconic circuit that we'll be visiting there for the penultimate round, and then we finish things up on the 15th of December for the European split. That's Abu Dhabi, the final round of the season. Let's take a look at the teams here for the European grid. It's been 14 rounds of absolute intensity for the majority of these racers. Jake Whisper over at Mercedes, Hurricane and Ruben at Ferrari. We have Dirk Chocolate and Cotters over at Red Bull, Alexander and Kana at McLaren, Safso and Beavis for Renault, Steph and Tim for AlphaTauri. We have Vettel and Filipich for the Racing Point squad, XTXP and Bajarn over at Alfa Romeo. No Conviction and Distinctive with Baza and Adam over at Williams. So we have 20 fantastic racers to go racing here around Mexico. Let's take a look at the standings looking ahead into this one. So we have Filipich, who is, I think, in range of clinching the title today. I think that at this race, if he wins it, he'll have clinched it, or there's some kind of point scenario here. I don't go through all of the variables, but I think Filipich will be able to clinch a European championship today in that Racing Point. Hurricane right behind him was leading it for some time, 132 points for the Ferrari, and then Tim right behind him, 123. It's a tight battle all the way throughout this, all the way throughout the standings, really. We take a look at the constructors. You have Racing Point, Ferrari, and Mercedes, your top 3. 5 drivers received penalty points after post-race penalties in the United States. Vajarn and Ruben issued warnings for dangerous driving on formation lap. That is the information that we have from the stewards. I will tell you right now, that verdict sheet for penalties was a book in itself, and the stewards not thrilled with how that went in the US for this split, but we'll have to see how things go here for this one. Because with all that being said, Unicorn, I do believe we are ready to go racing.
We are indeed. We'll get everyone readied up. And away to go. We do have a full grid, which is always lovely. It's what we love to see. And, well, I want to see how these guys tackle Mexico. We do have a few reserves on the grid today, but anything to fill that grid up to those 20 spots. The countdown has begun. 30 seconds on the clock. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Like you said, Filipich, I do think he needs to outscore to clinch it. He needs to outscore... who was it second in the standings? I just had it up. It's 11 points he needs to outscore by to take the win of the championship over P2. I haven't done the maths elsewhere on the standings, but he is definitely within winning range.
He came into this and just took it by storm, realistically. The Croatian driver has led this championship for a couple rounds now, and he's been taking win after win after win. Let's take a look at who is on the grid today. We have 20 racers lining up here in Mexico. We have Angel / Vettel over at Racing Point. We have Whisper. Cactus is here in a reserve capacity today. Beavis as well in the other Renault. Looks like Safso unable to make things. No Conviction as well in 5th. Jake in 6th. Ruben in 7th. Distinctive in 8th. We have Alexander in 9th. We have Tim in 10th. Steph right behind him in 11th position, the other AlphaTauri. We have XTXP on the grid today, as well as Dirk Chocolate and Cotters, the dynamic duo for the Red Bull squad. Moen and, well, his teammate Mammal, 15th and 20th for the Williams. iFelipe 16th, Mario 17th, Hurricane in 18th, presently on the timing tower with Neon here in a reserve capacity as well. And, well, we'll have to see who the first racer to get out of the pit lane will be. 17 minutes left in the qualifying session, 18 minutes the full duration. So, it's going to be a lot of fun. They had a couple of practice races around Mexico, and you and I were speaking about it a little bit beforehand. But a bit nervous to see how this race may unfold, Unicorn.
Yeah, it seems that those practice races might have been a little dramatic, with potentially a bug or two around the track with the relation to especially retiring in the pit lane. So hopefully we don't see that come into play here, but on how first out onto the track. But yeah, the practice races are anything to go by. It's going to be a very eventful race, but fingers crossed it's eventful in a good way and not a bad one, and it's memorable for the right reasons.
Vettel right now in the Racing Point, first out of the pit lane. And one thing to note here, Vettel, home Grand Prix for him. He is in Sergio Perez's car as well. So the Mexican, I imagine, wanting to do well around his home circuit.
Yeah, he's the only one at the home Grand Prix here, and I don't know if we have any Brazilians on the ground. I think on the EU grid we do. Obviously, most drivers hailing from the European Union. So, we're with a final driver with a home race on the grid as he starts his flying lap.
Unless we, in the next week, acquire a Brazilian driver, I think this is, as you said, yeah, the last of the home Grand Prix for all of the racers in MRL. I mean, we have, I think Yama is also Mexico, so he will be able to call this the home Grand Prix. I think he's living in the United States, but I think he is from Mexico. So we have a few Mexican drivers within the Misfits Racing League. Of course, the Misfits Racing League, a global racing league, and it really makes for a very diverse grid. You love to see it, just like you do in the real Formula One World Championship. I think I'd go as far to say we actually may have an even more diverse grid than the realistic Formula One Championship.
Well, we have more drivers than the Formula One grid would do. Obviously, you could include F2 in that in the calculation. You'd probably still rival them for different cultures, countries in the Discord. It's like you said, a brilliant thing to see as Angel crosses the line. 1:15.6.
Neatly done out of him. More drivers now going to be coming through. McLaren's. Beavis, as you said, yeah. 14.8 out of him. Neon, 14 flat. Neon has shown us some good pace since he started racing with us. Whisper, 14.9 in the Mercedes. There goes the other McLaren, Alexander. Ruben, 15 flat out of the South African. Now, he told me that he may have a little bit of pace around here today, and to keep an eye out for the South African pride flying in that Ferrari, Jody Scheckter style.
Yeah, Jake's just become the first person to crack under the 114. He's a 113.9 in the Mercedes. And I don't think we've had a weather report yet, as Dirk crosses with a 116.5. His teammate Cotter's a 115.3, so Dirk struggling a little bit on his opening lap, but it looks like he might be going again.
iFelipe, now, if I'm not mistaken, he's taken a grid penalty at some point in the session. I don't know if he hit somebody or what happened, or I saw somebody mention something. I think it might have been Mick Talk about the grid penalty in the chat. Mario flying right now. Not too many drivers flying. Cactus is on a flyer coming through out of the S's now.
Well, it doesn't look like he's got one on the race director. So it might have just been a visual glitch on the pop-ups. So it doesn't look like he's actually acquired one. At least not on my end. Fingers crossed. Yeah. Is penalty free in that car.
Cactus getting his time in. It's a 1:15.7. Moen presently on an invalidated run. Felipic has just begun another lap as he is really putting some time in on those softs. Let's take a look at Mario now. Big snap out of the... Oh, into the stadium section here through Sector 3, and that is a retirement out of the Alfa Romeo. And I have struck again with the camera. The commentator's curse in full force there, seeing him out of this qualifying session. So Mario is done and dusted here with 11 minutes remaining.
Yeah, super unfortunate. An interesting place to have done it as well. I don't think I've seen too many incidents down into that third sector through turn 12. So a bit of a peculiar one, but very, very unfortunate. He hasn't even got a time on the board. So no bank allotment. Felipic has invalidated again coming through sector 2. So he's really trying to push these track limits, but he needs to rein it in a little bit and at least get one lap in, because otherwise he's going to start this grid far down, even without the grid penalty. Hurricane, interestingly, is looking like he's going to try and qualify on the mediums. Angel, the first out of the garage, was also on the medium Commentators, but has already switched off onto the softs, and I'm sure we'll see him pop out for a run on those shortly. But I wonder if Hurricane, maybe this is his strategy. He looks like he's getting a little bit of a toe off of his teammate in Ruben down towards turn 4.
So much invalidation happening through Mexico, and Mexico is one of those circuits we've known to give us such a strict circuit. It's the corners here, the exceeding of limits. These drivers really need to be careful because the penalties can ramp up, very similar to how we saw for 5 races through last week in the United States.
Yeah, I think here, like you said, I think penalties are going to be in full swing. I think we might even see more around here, looking at how this qualifying session is going, because the USA is one thing, but that's sector 2. It's so easy to just pick one up, and then you're thinking about it through sector 2. You're not thinking about elsewhere. Hurricane jumps into the 10th place on those mediums, a 1:15.1, but then you just run wide, randomly. Turn 3, you can pick up one, I think, on the outside of that corner. So these drivers gotta be careful, because the way they're going, they're going to pick up a lot as Hurricane gives his teammate Ruben a little bit of toe down into turn 1, and it is a very, very long run down into that first corner.
XTXP just crossed. He's 1.5 off the leader right now. Let's take a look at the time. 1:15.448 out of him. Felipic is just out cruising on these softs right now, and a variety of racers all on out laps. A few starting flyers just the same as well. Dirk Chocolate has begun a flyer, and Dirk Chocolate, definitely a racer we have seen put in a lot of work. I know he's got fans in the chat wishing that he would get on the pole. I know that Lamp, good friend of Dirk, talking about dreaming and big goals, and it's great to see that dreamers still do exist in that chat. We love to see you. Wish the best things for these racers. Cotters, his teammate, flying now just the same.
Ruben's just crossed a 1:14.5, and I think, well, like you say, Dirk last week, almost, he's so tantalizingly close to that podium. I think a lot of fans in the chat want to see him climb up at least one place, get himself onto one of the steps.
Hamill coming into the pit lane now, and we have 20 drivers in this race. The unfortunate retirement from Mario. 18 and 19, Moen and Felipic yet to set times. Hurricane setting that time on the mediums, that 1:15.1, which means he could have a good potential improvement next time he goes around. He is still on the mediums. Cutting a little bit of circuit here to maybe get into that pit lane. Alexander jumps into the front row with
Angel as well.
Neon. And Angel, fourth position for him. Things are really tightening up in the front end of this grid. The current gap from first down to seventh is a second.
Yeah, Jake's just invalidated his latest run, and it was in Sector 3 as well, the invalidation. So, like I was saying, there's other places that you can pick up these invalidations that can throw off a lap. His teammate, Whisper, has just started a flyer in the other Mercedes.
Let us know what you think in the chat. Did we even get a... Wait, hold on a moment. Did we get a weather report?
I don't think we did, and there's
I'm
a lot
looking
of
at this
here in
cloud,
qualifying.
yeah. I don't think we had a weather report for this one. So if any of the drivers are able to provide us with a nice weather forecast, that would be absolutely fantastic. I think Neon has just said there's going to be a bit of rain. For the race or for the qualifying is the big question. What is the weather for the race? I think that's more important. Race is being told dry, so... Whisper coming through this final section of the circuit. He's able to put across the line here in the Mercedes. Well, he's not going to be putting anything significant across the line, except maybe the rear tires ahead of the front tires there. But he's struggling right now, and he's going to have to get in quickly. Very, very tough luck out of him. Cactus now on an invalidated run. I imagine he'll be coming into the pit lane. Felipic now. Absolutely no battery in this car. He is appearing to be on a flyer, but he's been on these softs just driving. And I'm not entirely... Yeah, he's he's just done it. Yeah, he's running these softs into the absolute ground here.
I'm wondering if that is what he's doing. To sort of... Because if you do it in qualifying... I mean, you'd think you'd do it before the race, but...
5 minutes remaining, rain coming down.
Yeah, putting this... And that's going to cost Felipic here, because... Well, now he's going to have to put a lap time in what is going to be a dampening track, so...
I think he's looking for a back-to-front start without maybe as much drama as it was seen in Singapore. Just staying out, waiting for times to get set. Gonna carry on through.
I can't think of any other reason.
Gonna go around again. Having a grand old time in that racing point. Either that or he's done absolutely no practice. One or the other. Tim. In fifth on the timing tower right now, looking to improve. Currently third in the standings. Able to do out of the final turn. Time for the AlphaTauri. It is an improvement of 600ths. And I think that it will be all he will be able to improve by as the rain has started to fall. Hurricane out on the softs right now, flying. Big extend coming through Sector 3 there, but he is up a massive amount of time in this Ferrari, nearly a second. Dirk Chocolate just ahead of him on an outlap. He's on the softs, and with this rain, it will be a big question as to whether or not Dirk will be able to improve, let alone get that pole position that our dear friend Mr. Panaron is hoping for. Hurricane goes fourth quickest here in the Ferrari, a 1:14.144.
Yeah, with Felipic going for this bold, well, at least that's what we think he's doing, bold, challenge of trying to go from last to first, but it's Hurricane's best chance, it would seem, of keeping himself in the standings and fourth, the highest he can put himself up on the grid, it would seem. Because the rain is really now on the ground. The cars are not kicking up much spray yet, but it won't be long, I don't think, until we start to see, puddles start to form on the track. At least a little glimmer of water on the surface.
Your Whisper flying just ahead of his teammate and Jake right now. The McLarens not going to be improving, I don't think. Both of them on invalidated runs here on these softs, and I think we're going to see a good portion of these drivers jump into the pit lane. Oh, Neon's going to begin another lap. Alexander has decided to come in.
I'm not quite sure what a lot of these drivers are doing. Some, and then just keep going, and now it's in these dampening conditions, but the track is that it's technically best, so maybe with the rain not really forming on the ground, as I believe he's now retired his car in the pit lane, so he's not setting a lap time. But yeah, I don't see too much improvement coming out. I think maybe one or two rogue drivers who had a bad first lap might see themselves improve a little bit, but whether they can beat anyone else out because of the rain now, it's going to be interesting to see. But I think the grid as it stands isn't going to be too dissimilar to what we see when we start this Grand Prix. Dirk's had a spin. He's got a fair amount of that front wing missing. By the looks of it, at least an end plate.
Oh yeah. Almost the entire front right portion of that Red Bull is missing.
Yeah, Whisper's had another spin, this time through Sector 2. So he's not going to be happy with how this qualifying session has gone, but like we said, I don't think there's too much. Most drivers now are retiring in the pit lane. So yeah, I think it's pretty much everyone done now that this rain is coming down. Qualifying session's only got 20 seconds according to us.
Yeah, I think this may be our qualifying session finished here. After the rain began to come down, I think it was not worth going out in these conditions, not able to improve in dry to wet conditions. Doesn't work that way.
And the qualifying, never really see it. I finished slightly early, but there we are.
Here we go, everyone in the pit lane. So Neon, Alexander, Jake, your top three. We'll go down through the grid in just a few moments time again. Hear the little pitter patter of raindrops. Cars to retire, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, not quite sure what is holding us right now. Well, there's only 3 culprits. I do believe that it could be
Potential desync as well. They might just be putting it like, I don't think everyone. I think that Distinctive, Cactus, and XTXP just need to retire from session here, and okay.
Well, DRS has been disabled by race control. That's interesting to see. I'm sure no one will be utilizing it in the remainder of this qualifying session. But there we are. We are moving on.
Neon on pole position. Very nice time from him. A 1:13.584 from the reserve McLaren. Alexander there in second position. The Finn, his teammate, it's a 1-2 lockout for the McLarens. A 1:13.743 from him. Just a 10th off. Jake rounds out the top 3. The Swedish driver in the Mercedes, a 1:13.798. So 2 tenths separating him from the front runners. And we have Hurricane fourth with Angel, the hometown hero here for this one. The home GP for the Mexican in 5th. We will go down through the rest of this grid, the formation lap.
Yeah, and well, it's an interesting qualifying session. It felt like it went very quickly. I don't know about you, Strif, but that just did not feel like 18 minutes, that qualifying session.
No, it didn't.
But
It didn't. And Mexico definitely, with all of the invalidations, with so many invalidations, corner cuts, speeding limits, I will be the first to admit, qualification through Mexico in this format, in this style, with the cameras we have access to, can be quite confusing and up and down choppy, if you will. So it's frustrating with the invalidations. Circuits where you don't have nearly as many invalidations, a lot easier to get qualification done and more flowing, I feel. But here we are, 10 seconds counting down before the session begins, and we take away on our formation lap. And we'll take a look at the 20 drivers lining up on this grid. Revved up. Fired up and off on this formation. So once again, Neon, Alexander, the two McLarens on the front row. Neon on pole. Jake there in third, lining up behind them. Hurricane in fourth. On Hell in fifth. The Mexican. Tim in sixth, as well as, well, Ruben seventh. Whisper eighth. Beavis in ninth. That's Steph in 10th, rounding out the top 10 racers for this one. Let's take a look at the back 10. All of these drivers, majority on the harder compounds. Let's go through them. Distinctive, Mammal, Cotters, and Dirk Chocolate, 11 through 14, all on these mediums. No conviction in 15th there. On the softs, really kind of putting that monkey wrench in all of those harder running racers. And then you have Cactus right behind him in 16th on hards. XTXP Moen opting for the mediums, with Mario and iFilipich going for hards here for this one.
Yeah, I think the tyres here are absolutely crucial. The in-game strategy recommending a two-stop, but it doesn't take into account those starting on the harder compound tyres. It was only suggesting soft mediums. Whether we see anyone in the lower end of this grid go from the mediums or the hards to the alternate of the harder two compound strategy, so the medium hard one stop, hard medium one stop, it might be what we see iFilipich jump onto. It'd be quite interesting. He wouldn't quite have the pace at the end, but depends. Can he cut through this grid on the hard compound tyres? We know he has some exceptional pace in that racing point, but hard compound tyres might make it a little difficult around here. But there's a lot of variation on the tyre tree, or timing tower, and I'd like to see how that plays into this race, and it could be a very interesting race from a strategic point of view. There's the predicted pitch stop strategy. Again, a soft medium or a soft medium being recommended by the game.
Yeah, it's a heavy strategical circuit when it comes to tires here. Corner cutting, things like this, penalties. Let us know what you think in the chat about safety cars. Of course, we are just about to go racing as iFilipich now, the last driver to approach the grid, in 20th in the racing point. His teammate Vettel here for the home Grand Prix. The Mexican driver is starting this race in 5th. Unicorn, take us away.
Well, there we go. The lighting sequence has been initialized. You can hear all the drivers revving their engines. They're getting ready to launch away from the line, and here we go. We are away for the Mexican Grand Prix, and it looks like Tim in the AlphaTauri has had an exceptional start. He's already side by side with Hurricane. Jake has already got past one of the McLarens. Alexander has had a very slow start. He's getting passed by Angel and Hurricane as well, down into turn one. Hurricane very late on the brakes, has lost one of his end plates and a huge portion of that front wing, and that's going to slow everyone behind him down. We have a full course safety car. I'm not sure what's happened.
Whisper's gone around.
Whisper's pointing the wrong way, yeah.
Yeah, we've had a big issue here coming through out of turn 3 and 4. And that has already given us a safety car. Neon presently in AI status on the safety car. Probably checking the race director to see what's going on. Jake right behind him, sitting in second. Let's take a look at the position changes now. Big shuffles here already. Jake, Hurricane, and Angel have all made it up a position each. Alexander has dropped off the front row into 5th. Neon has maintained pole. Ruben has made up a slot. He's taken Tim for 6th. Beavis, Steph, each up 1 position. Cotters has made up 3. Conviction, no Conviction, has made up 4 positions here. Distinctive, his teammate, has dropped off 11. iFilipich, who started in 20th, has already made up 7 positions into 13th. Mammals dropped back 2. We have Moen up 3. Cactus holds in 16th where he began. Mario down 2. Dirk down 4. XTXP down 2. And then Whisper, the biggest loser so far in this opening stint. 12 positions lost for the Mercedes. And now it looks like there's going to be a pit for the Ferrari of Hurricane.
This start couldn't have gone better for iFilipich. He's started in dead last, and now, well, he's here to secure the win, really, for the title. That's what he wants to do here. His main rival in Hurricane started much higher up the grid, goes for a massive line to turn 1, breaks his front wing, is now in the pit lane, and iFilipich, who started, 16 positions behind Hurricane, after the first lap is 6 places up on the Ferrari.
Yeah.
And his other rival in Tim, well, he's only 3 places up the road, so iFilipich had a great start.
Yeah, and it's a 36-lap campaign here. Unbelievable. I don't understand the risks being taken at the race start. I know everybody wants to get early positions, but it's a 36-lap campaign around a very strict circuit here. the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, a circuit that a lot of these racers not too keen on because of the strictness, the tightness. And now we're on lap 2, full course safety car, and 34 laps to go. And I imagine a lot of these drivers, Filipich, I guarantee you, in the cockpit of this Racing Point, having made up 11 positions on hard compound tires, is just laughing. He's just laughing at the impatience of some of the racers ahead of him that he competes with. And it's reasons like this. It's reasons like this that give him, the leader of this championship, such a lead.
Yeah, and it just goes to show that you don't need to be going for those huge lunges, because you can guarantee, Filipich, he didn't make half of these places by going for a big dive into turn 1. He's made these places because other people have gone for those dives up ahead of him, broken their front wings. I don't know what happened with Whisper, but he was pointing the wrong way after it. And those mistakes, those incidents, he's just kept his nose out of it, and look where it's landed him. It is, patience really is a virtue, especially in the opening laps. Obviously, the last lap, your 5 positions, you might see that lunge, but you're not surrounded by other cars in those scenarios. You're usually with 1, maybe 2 other vehicles going for the same place. Here, everyone's jostling for position. You just need to keep yourself undamaged, keep yourself in position, and just hold on to what you've got. Go for the places when it's clear who you're battling later in the race. But yeah, Filipich, he's the headline act here this evening so far, but he's not the only winner. You've got no conviction ahead of him. He's had a brilliant start as well. Obviously not going for the championship win, but up 7 places on after the first lap under the safety car. He's going to be pretty happy with himself as well.
Nobody with any penalties yet, which is, I guess, something that these racers have got going for them. But I will say, look at Filipich on these hards. He has this entire sea of red ahead of him as far as the tires are concerned. Those softs are going to burn out very quick. I don't know if it was the right call for these guys to stay out here.
Well, they're in a, like you say, a sea of red, so maybe they can run away. But the problem here is, as the safety car is called in, Distinctive, who I'm right in saying has...
Safety car here is a very, very tricky restart as well, because that sector 3 is so short into a very, very technical section in this last stadium section. That safety car just about to come in now. Neon, I think, is trying to go here. Yeah, he has hammered down. He is away. Let's take a look at things further down. Ruben, right to the rear of Alexander. Tim, keeping up with him, and Filipich has already made it 1 position ahead of No Conviction. Mammal catching things up. He's in 10th position in that Williams, and Ruben and Alexander are exchanging wheel to wheel right now, coming through turn 3, now through 4.
Oh, it's into the wall for the pair of them.
Not entirely sure what's caused that. That is a massive amount of damage on the front left for Ruben. Alexander.
He's just got cut by. He's just got.
Well, I don't know if he was closed off or if it was a day later, $1 short for him there, because I don't know what has just happened with that McLaren. He's out of this race.
Yeah, he's up the inside super late. I just think he's misjudged the braking there, and well, Cactus doesn't expect him to be there, so he's just taking the corner normally. You can see now Ruben losing so many places because of this broken front wing, and it's not going to be the first Ferrari with a wing change in this race. His teammate Hurricane
around the outside. Oh man, Hurricane around down the inside now of Beavis. Hards versus hards here. Jake sets the fastest lap, a 1:17.982, and Beavis is under major threat from this Ferrari. Ruben's going to pit here. This is his only option.
Sector 3 isn't exactly the world's best overtaking spot, and we've just seen that Hurricane's tried it twice, and I think all he's done there is cost him and Beavis time. So, again, he seems to just... his impatience seems to be compounding, and now, looking at the inside, hasn't gone for such a dramatic move as we saw him on the first lap, but now catching a bit of the inside curb cost him a little bit of stability there through turn 3. But yeah, Hurricane, I think, just needs to breathe a little bit, just take a moment, relax himself.
He's not going to have a big time to breathe here with Cotters, Mario behind him on fresher rubber. Those medium compound tires right now are going to have a little bit more pace. Hurricane, very quick driver, however, could be able to hold them off. Not too much doing in the middle of this grid right now other than Dirk Chocolate on the 4-lap old mediums. He's hunting down Cactus for an additional point in this campaign. He's in 10th, so he's got 1 point on him right now. If he's able to get 9th, he'll have 2, which will be nice for him. Filipich into 6th position is hunting down Steph. DRS has been enabled. I do not believe we'll see it coming out of the racing point until further into the lap, however. May not need it to get Steph, though. Look at the speed coming out of this racing point. Moving to the inside now, ahead of turn 1. Clear ahead, wheel to wheel now. Wheel to wheel, not clear ahead. Now it's back to the inside for the AlphaTauri with a bit of a defense here. A little bit of a shaky exit, however. Here goes Filipich on the power. Now he's clear ahead into 5th position, heading into braking. And he will be happy with that. No conviction, not too far behind this. We'll be looking to catch up with the AlphaTauri as well. Cactus. Dirk, wheel to wheel. Dirk around the outside. We'll see what we can do coming through the double right here as Cactus looks to keep up, but Dirk already flying away on the mediums right now, showing a little bit more pace in the Red Bull for the time being. We look back now. Hurricane has now had a bit of an issue. He's spun it, done a 180 coming through the SS section. A lot of fast movers moving through near him. And it's very unfortunate for the Scuderia today. It just seems like this race has not gone their way at all. Cotters now hunting down Mario.
Yeah, Cotters, he's already been passed by Mario, and now he's under threat from Whisper from behind. And like I said before, Sector 3 isn't really an overtaking spot, and Whisper's cost himself. And now Distinctive is having a look on the inside. They're very, very close. I don't know if they did touch. There might have been a little bit of contact. It's nice and clean, and now Moen is looking at the rear of the Mercedes. This is all going on outside of the points, but it's very, very exciting stuff. Whisper now with a nice run on Distinctive. Moen's got the pace as well. And everyone has DRS. They're dropping off the back of Cotters a lot. Distinctive's on the inside. Whisper still takes the corner. Almost spins the Haas. Moen has to go pretty heavy on the brakes to avoid getting closed off by the Haas as well. So they're all still going in the right way. Moen's lost a lot of time, but the Haas, he's done the opposite. He's passed the Mercedes.
Not
Can
just
he hold
yet.
it?
There's a bit of a dive from Whisper. He doesn't make contact there. Very, very fortunate that he did not make contact. That could have been what Moen needed behind them to get through on the both of them, realistically. Davis hunting down XTXP. DRS now.
DRS. Just a little bit too short that run into turn 12, and well, now we're in Sector 3. A little bit of a tap as the Renault looked like he wanted to carry a little bit more speed through the hairpin than XTXP. Now down on the final turn, and you can see XTXP's just running away. He's got a much better exit here. He doesn't have DRS on the car ahead. We've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and that's another, well, it's another spin for Hurricane. And he's missing, again, a lot of that front wing, and well, this might just be his championship hopes over.
Davis. He's so tight to the rear of this Alpha. Mario, the teammate in the other one, parking up his gearbox, and a bit of an Alfa Romeo sandwich at the moment.
Yeah, Cotter's behind them. He's already picked up a penalty, as has Jake, so they're starting to come in here. Distinctive, as I say, picks up another one as well, so penalties really are starting to come in driving force, and they will play a role in the end, no doubt.
Everything is a midfield battle right now. There really isn't too much cooking in the top 5. Angel, well, Angel, I should say, actually, in his home race here, is going to have DRS. Let's take a look. It's an overtake by the Mexican. Down the inside, he's looking. Jake now has that penalty. He's not going to be too thrilled about it. Angel sticking on that inside line through the turns here, and Jake might have DRS on the... Well, actually, I forgot. You get DRS very, very early ahead of turn 1, technically speaking. So, Angel is still going to have it. Felipic now has Tim in his sights. It's the other racing point down the inside. Easy as you like. Nothing Tim could do there. And this is hard compound tires. These softs are really starting to tear away for them.
Oh, there's a big incident back down at turn 2 and 3. And Moen has just driven into a spinning Cotters, and Distinctive, well, he's in the wall as well. Not quite sure what happened between the three of them, but I don't think they were that close on track. So I think that might have been one incident compounding into another.
Well, first race of the week, and very fortunate that we have 5 races around Mexico each week, because it gives the grid an idea for each race ahead. You know, they have a little bit more information. They go, oh, okay, the European grid, this is how things played out. This is what happened. Oh, the Oceanic grid, this is what happened. Tier 2, Tier 1, oh, and so on and so forth. And realistically, I suppose for some of these European split drivers, that could come at a disadvantage. But I think everybody participates in league races, and in some way, the MRL does give a lot of these racers good pace and practice for the other leagues that they participate in. Of course, MRL, not the only league all of these racers participate in. Misfits Racing League about community, not exclusivity, unless, of course, you're extremely fast, in which case, well, we'd like to have as many quick racers as possible here for these fantastic broadcasts. I hope you guys are enjoying them. By the way, let us know in the comments. Let us know if we're going to see another safety car right now, because we have, well, 10 laps of racing that have gone through so far. Distinctive has retired in the pit lane, so he is out of this one.
Yeah, and fingers crossed, it is just ends up as a retirement in the pit lane and doesn't cause a safety car. I do believe that happened in one of the practice races. Someone retired in the pit lane, and for some reason they decided that, well, the safety car was going to come out. XTXP getting a little bit sideways through sector 2. It's costing him a little bit of time. To his teammate ahead, he's still just about got a DRS. And like you said, the detection zones around here are pretty early for these, as the pit window has opened up, and as a result, well, Felipic right now is sitting in second place, only Neon ahead of him, who started this race on pole position.
Well, Dirk Chocolate into 5th position after a multitude of racers have now come in to get off their tires. Take a look at the stops in this race. Who has yet to come in? No Conviction. Well, no Convictions in the pit lane, excuse me. So XTXP, Cactus, Dirk, Mammal, Tim, Felipic, and the leader of this race, Neon, all yet to come in off of their tires. And their tires are starting to get a little bit dated, at the very least, for the soft runners.
Yeah, we're about to see what fresh tires can do, I think. Angel is already on the rear of XTXP. He didn't have DRS going down into turn 4, but all the fresh tires, I'm sure they're going to start to prove very advantageous. Maybe a little bit cold, though, as he gets a little bit sideways. Hurricane, a 117.9. He may be right down in 18th place, but he's still trying his best to do what he can to get back into this and maybe, just maybe, keep his championship dream alive, as you can really see Angel's speed. And I don't know whether that's a force mistake or XTXP just doesn't want to fight him and lose time, in which case it's a wise move. But Angel now up into 8th place, and Jake, I imagine, is going to want to follow suit. Neon pits from leader of this race, and now Felipic, who started this race in last place, is now up in P1 strip on hard tyres, so he doesn't have to pit for a long time, and I expect to see him maybe try for a one-stop here, as Jake, with a nice run out of the last turn, and DRS as well, side by side with the Alfa Romeo of XTXP.
Yeah, very intense drag race between these two down into turn 1. Jake has that inside line. They're wheel to wheel. A little bit of a front right lock up there for XTXP. He is going to have a little bit of an inside look, though. Looks like there might have been a bit of contact between the two. Not entirely sure if that was the curbing unsettling XTXP or if it was Jake. I don't know if there was contact. Neither of these cars have any debris coming off. No damage, and that is going to be Jake. Angel now has dispatched Cactus for 7th, and it's not going to be too long, I think, considering the tire wear on those hards for him compared to Jake, that Jake's able to perhaps slip through here. XTXP has already dropped off around 4/10. Look at the run out of the S's here. Let's see what Jake's able to do out of this final left-hander, I should say.
Well, he's going to have a look, and he's very late on the brakes, and he's too late. See, he's actually managed to hold on to the position, I think, because I don't see Cactus coming back through here, but Angel's move up the inside of turn 4 was really nice. He braked early enough that his Cactus didn't give him the room. He would have been fine, but because he put his car on that inside, we've seen it time and time again in these league races, Striff. It just forced Cactus to sort of second-guess himself, put his car a little bit wider than maybe he would have wanted to, without risk of touching the racing point, and well, Angel on our fresh mediums is going to take that window any day of the week and just step through. Whereas Jake, very big lunge, late on the brakes, a much more dramatic move, but it's going to cost him more time than what Angel did, so
Yeah.
racing point, going to be very happy.
Checking in with Neon now, Unicorn. He's caught things up with the Dirk Chocolate in 4th position. That is Dirk in the Red Bull. He's on 12-lap-old mediums. Those are the same tires he began this race on. And now he has a set of fresh mediums attached to Neon's car, hunting him down here. And it's a battle between tires at the moment. Well, actually, it's a battle between the fact that Dirk has to come in still. All of these racers ahead of Neon need to come in still. And Dirk, I imagine right now, any of these racers, Filipich, Tim, Mammal, Dirk, they would really, really like to see a safety car right now, because Dirk would be in a prime position should there be a safety car that comes out. Dirk, given the fact that he is on these medium compound tires, though, he's able to run a little bit longer compared to the soft runners. We say that because Tim now, the last of those starting soft runners, has come into the pit lane. Dirk Chocolate has been overtaken swiftly by Neon here. The tire differential massive.
I think Tim's going to try for the 1-stop. I think everyone else is going to go for the 2-stop, soft, medium, medium. Or maybe soft, medium, soft, but Tim, I think, is going soft to hard. Which begs the question, what's Filipich going to pit for, and Cactus as well? And are they going to do a hard to soft, or are they going to do the safe method of hard to medium?
Yeah, it definitely is a big question. Timing tower. The intervals now spacing themselves out somewhat. Ruben right now under threat from Beavis with the DRS now. That Renault to the outside into the next turn here. Ruben, not a lot he can do. He's had a very, very up and down race. As has Alexander, and distinctive when you look at it. They are no longer in the running. Steph being on these fresh softs, he's going to have some good pace. He's showing it right now, especially considering XTXP's tires in comparison. The AlphaTauri absolutely breathing down his neck.
Yeah, and he's just closed an over a 1-second gap in the last lap to get to this point, and now look at the exit. He doesn't even need DRS to make this move, but obviously he's going to say thank you very much. Anyway, interesting enough, he used ERS there, which is going to cost him in the long run, because XTXP's got way more than him. Obviously, Steph may not battle XTXP with it, but still is a little bit unnecessary for someone who's already running out, as XTXP picks up a 3-second time penalty. And you can see now, look at the flags on this timing tower. You can see how many people have picked up penalties in this race, and well, most of them are 3 seconds, with the exception of Codders. He's picked up 6 seconds in this Grand Prix.
So, Cactus, there's not a lot he's going to be able to do here. Look at the amount of time that Steph's able. Look at the traction on the exits through these sections, and it's very important that Steph keeps a little bit of patience here. He's going to have DRS now. He's going to have a ton of traction. I was nervous there, I have to say. Ooh, later on the brakes though. Cactus around the outside. Does he hold this? No, Steph. Enough traction on the inside to get the move done. XTXP is still on the rear of all of this, and we're going to jump ahead now as Neon has made it away. Well, made it away a little bit ahead of Mammal into turn 1.
Yeah, and Angel has just done a similar move. He's dispatching Dirk Chocolate down at the start, finish straight, and look how far his teammate is ahead. 15.4 seconds for the man who started this race right down at the back of this grid. Filipich absolutely showing his full size here as Cactus and Steph. They're exchanging once more, this time through the opening corners. Steph back into 8th place.
Take a look at that position change, as you said. Yeah, Filipich. He did not set a time in qualifying. Instead, he took the opportunity to do, I think it was 6 or 7 laps around the circuit on softs. Started the race from, well, 20th, and if I'm not mistaken, at the time of the first safety car, he had made up 7 positions. After the pit stops, I think he was into 9th. Inside of the first 2 laps.
Positions, and then 11 after the safety car, so yeah. And now, well, 11 seems like a small number in comparison to the 19 places he's gained now in this race.
Definitely. Mario, Dirk, Jake, all in a large train. Mammal has pulled the plug off those mediums. Now he goes, what is he going to get onto? That is going to be a unique question, as he'll be the first hard or medium runner to pit. And I think he's gone on to the hards with Dirk Chocolate. So they're going for that one-stop medium hard.
Yeah, it makes sense just before the halfway mark to get off of them. The interesting thing here is that in a few laps is Jake running on the back of Mario. He's looking around the outside out to turn 4. Mario a little bit earlier on the brakes, looking to try and cut back on the inside, but I don't think he's going to get the run on the Mercedes. He's just on those fresher tyres, and that gives
him on the inside. Him and XTXP going too wide. XTXP on the inside now, still battling. Wheel to wheel coming into the double right-hander. XTXP still holding on the inside, a little bit of a slide out. And I think that's going to be Tim through. And a nice defense from XTXP there on the very worn mediums. And this may be the sign that XTXP needed to come in off of these. And the big question is, will he also go onto the hards, or is he going to extend maybe a little bit further? Well, I don't think you can go to softs from here, and these tires are getting quite old. So it's a unique situation. It is definitely a unique situation for XTXP. Ruben right now in a unique situation of his own. No conviction just ahead of him. He's got DRS on the Haas. He has a look to the inside. That would have been a way late. There's tons of little battles forming on the grid right now as XTXP has decided to come in off of those mediums. Davis hunting down Moen.
Yeah, Kex and Tim have exchanged positions, as well as, like you say, the other Renault is looking to come past the Williams before turn 1. He's ahead coming into the corner. Is he going to stay there after the fact? It looks like, yeah, he's well and truly ahead of Moen in the Williams. And looking at how the tyres are going and looking how far Tim carried the softs that he qualified on, I think it makes too much sense for Felipe to go onto some fresh softs. So I expect we'll see him come in not too many laps, actually, before he comes on to the soft compound tyre. He has picked up his first penalty, though, of the session. We're not seeing maybe as many as I thought. As some people now are approaching 6 seconds. There are multiple drivers now on that 6 seconds of penalties, but we're interested to see Ruben now on the rear of Moen, and Moen 14 lap old mediums. His tyres are getting to the braking point. Ruben on hards that are only 12 laps old. They'll still be working, and there he goes up the inside of the Williams. Very nice overtake from the Ferrari driver.
Yeah, easily done there. And he also just passed No Conviction a few moments ago. And that's important because No Conviction is on much fresher rubber. And he's supposed to be on the quicker rubber. He is going to have DRS. He's showing a lot of speed on the rear of the Ferrari coming down into turn 1. The question is, will he have a look? He's looking to the inside. Does he go later on the brakes? He definitely thought about it, but there was no way. I don't think there was any way that he could have made that move. He will have another opportunity. DRS once again. Just not close enough to Ruben, but Ruben's got to be careful. He's got nobody to keep him ahead of No Conviction with DRS in his own equation now. And that could have been his saving grace, staving off the Haas with well, the other car. XT.
Ruben's actually pulled ahead.
Let's see what he's able to do here. After all 7-lap mediums versus 13-lap old hards to the end of this race, seemingly. Mario has come in off of his mediums. Big question is, where will the Alfa Romeo driver come out?
Yeah, he's been on those tyres for a little while, and now Dirk will definitely get him, and I imagine the speed that Beavis is carrying, I don't think he will, no. So Mario now in 9th, still in the points in the Alfa Romeo. So nice design from him. Beavis' teammate Cactus has just come out the pit lane in 14th place, and they've gone onto the mediums. They're not confident that softs will run from the end tier, whereas Felipic, who is now lapping back markers, yet to pit. I imagine we'll see him go to the softs in a few laps time, because it just he can get to those tires and will salt into the wounds. Hurricane, he could score points here. He's gonna have to pit again. He's currently in 13th out of them, and well, Felipic would love to take that fastest lap for the extra point, I imagine.
Cactus looking at Whisper. Whisper right now struggling. Not entirely sure if he's got damage. No damage, just feeling some tire wear right now. Could have a little bit too much temperature, but Cactus has gone very, very cleanly through. As Whisper, not so clean, nearly loses his car. So he is struggling right now. Def has come in. He's off those softs once again. Mario, Dirk Chocolate having an exchange. Dirk Chocolate on the 3-lap old hards. Mario on the fresh mediums. And it's a key thing to note here. Mario started this race in 19th position. He's currently in 7th, and he's on the mediums to the end, Unicorn.
Yeah, any driver who's just pitted for mediums definitely to the ends. Dirk and Mammal on those hards, they had to, but again, a little bit unfortunate. Maybe the medium hard wasn't the strategy. I think the hards to the soft that Felipic is about to pull off, though. Well, is he going to go for the soft, actually? I think he might be thinking that these hards are over, and he's come in a little bit earlier than I expected for the medium. So I do believe the fastest lap right now is Hurricanes. So, oh no, Neon has it right now, 117.5. I believe his current best on the hards was a 118 flat. Can he beat that time on these mediums? I expected him to go for the softs to try and get it, but obviously did not have the faith in those hard tyres to keep going at a reasonable pace, and he's come out behind his teammate and Neon for 3rd place at the moment. And well, Angel's kept himself penalty free, and that could be important towards the end of this race.
Couple of serious dogfights unfolding here. These pilots, if you will. Steph hunting down Beavis now. DRS straight. Utilizing that rear wing, getting through. Now it's going to be Hurricane. Looking to try and get XTXP. 13 lap old mediums for him. Here goes XTXP. On the outside. There goes the Ferrari through now. Clean through into braking. Might have been a bit of a late switch back to line there. Might have caught off XTXP a bit. We saw a lockup from him. He might not have expected Hurricane to switch back into the optimal racing line there, but a clean move regardless. No contact, and of course, that's what we like to see. Just no debris flying off these cars. We've only had one safety car here so far. Felipic now has overtaken his teammate. Angel now dropping in 3rd. To Felipic, who began this race in 20th, now into 2nd position. Looking to go to the end on his set of mediums here. 3 seconds the gap to Neon, and I am afraid to say Neon, although he had started this race on pole position and has shown some fantastic form here, Felipic has other plans. The Croatian on the hunt. Half a second the gap he's been able to take out of Neon since we began speaking about it.
Yeah, and not just Felipic, but Racing Point as a whole, because Angel penalty free. Neon's already got 6 seconds of penalties to his name, and we're, coming into the last third of the race. Up to almost 12 laps to go once Neon crosses that line. Well, that can lead to Angel beating out the McLaren here, provided he can stay in on the pace. He's on 1 lap older tyres. That could see him lose a bit more pace than Neon towards the end of this race, but right now both Racing Points looking very good, and like you said, Felipic's form tonight. And Angel, as Felipic, he does take fastest lap. It's a 1:15.7 out of the Racing Point. So, well, there's an extra point to add to his championship bid.
Neon, if I'm not mistaken, we saw him make his debut last week in the club division around the United States, and driver who's come into MRL showing some very promising pace. we'll hope to see him racing with us in Season 4. Of course, for those wondering about Season 4, as XTXP, what has happened here? Beavis has had a big issue. Whisper, well, Cactus has made 12th. Very odd. Well, Ruben's come in. XTXP has come in behind him. What has happened to XTXP here that has caused him to get off of 5-lap-old hards? He's a wing change. A good portion of it is missing. Very, very interesting. We'll have to figure that out.
There's a lot of drivers in the pits, actually. Are they all getting wing changes, or is that just
Neon? Here we have it now. iFilipich has caught up with Neon. They have some backmarker traffic. Wheel to wheel now. I tried to go and look at the exchange and I switched back to a different car. But there goes iFilipich through turn 1, 2, and 3. Clear ahead of the McLaren.
Beavis and XTXP, they were backmarkers in that fight, but they are also battling for position themselves. Beavis lay on the inside, a huge lockup from both drivers as Tim gets past Angel, who come in for fresh soft. So he is the first. I do believe he was on mediums prior to this. So he is going for the the soft, medium, soft. I imagine we're going to see the likes of Neon and Jake go for the same strat. And that means that Angel here is going for the undercut. He did pit a lot earlier than Neon previously. Jake trying to stretch the mediums one lap more. Is the undercut going to work here as the racing point goes around the outside of Tim, looking as they go through, and Tim spun.
Yeah, there was a bit of contact there. Tim, I think, had a little bit of contact, maybe got tangled up there. This is going to drop him into 7th position. Neon into the pit lane. Jake is staying out, and Angel is, of course, coming through the stadium section now, and he will have the opportunity to maybe catch Neon. Gonna be close.
Well, that incident there may have just seen the championship get wrapped up. Tim, I think, was the last person keeping it alive after Hurricane. Well, Hurricane is now in the points. He does have to pit again, though, before the end of this race, so it's unlikely that he'll score enough points. Tim in 7th now.
Beavis has retired the car in the pit lane, and 3 drivers out of this race. I'm gonna say I think it's come back out. We got yellow flags there through the pit straight, and fortunate for Beavis now leaving the session out of this race. Def.
It's not just come back out, it's in the middle of the track.
Def has made his way ahead of Dirk here easily into 8th. Def on 4-lap fresher rubber here, the mediums at that.
Here's Hurricane. He is into the pits. He's on those fresh softs. Can he get himself anywhere near the amount of points he needs? It would be a huge challenge, but he might have the pace of the drivers who are on the all-set strategies, the mediums and the hards. It seems like he's probably too far down. Cactus is 14 seconds off Dirt Chocolate right now in the points, as Jake comes into the pits.
We're entering the final phase now. We've got 10 laps to go. Angel into 3rd, 2.5 seconds on the rear of Neon, but you know Neon's got penalties. He's got 6 seconds worth of them. iFilipich has 6 seconds as well now. But the gap for Angel to iFilipich, his teammate, is 25 seconds. So the penalty is not going to play a large role. iFilipich will not be getting off of those mediums in this race, barring any issues.
I think that just about, confirms. The only thing here is that Neon or Angel, someone on those fresh softs, could steal the fastest lap off of him, but I think he's going to be too phased by that. He still holds it at 1:15.7, so Angel is the closest, the only one even remotely close to that time, 1:16.4.
Well, these guys have backmarker flags. Moen and No Conviction right now having a fight, and Ifilipic is wheel to wheel with No Conviction right now. And he has now taken both of the back markers. This has really exposed Moen. I think Moen was baying blue flags here. No Conviction, instead of letting him through, is wheel to wheel with him. I don't really know what to make of all that.
Yeah, it's a very, very peculiar sort of... Had a little bit of contact coming to the double right-hander there, but... they're both still going on. No Conviction now behind the Williams with DRS, so... I don't think it's the last time we're going to see them wheel to wheel, but...
Steph overtaking his teammate of Tim now. The AlphaTauri is 7-8 presently in this race. Whisper and No Conviction. No Conviction has come into the pit lane.
Just commenting on what's going on in the chat. I don't think Ifilipic's car has no visible damage. I think he's just losing any time because Neon's on fresh soft tyres versus Ifilipic, who is on 6 lap old mediums. So I think that's where the pace differential is coming in. We've only got 7 laps to go, and a 20-second lead that's going to be very difficult for Neon to even make a dent in, alone get anywhere close to the racing point. But yes, Ifilipic isn't damaged.
Things have really spaced themselves out, I think, more than I had expected them to for the European split. There's been a lot of fighting. A little bit of drama. We've had the one safety car. Now we've got Hurricane hunting down his teammate Ruben. Ruben, very much a team driver here. I imagine we'll just let Hurricane get the slipstream and bow out of the way here, and you can see Ruben not defending hard at all to his teammate here. There goes Hurricane into 11th, and he's looking to go and hunt down some points for the Scuderia. Maybe Ruben can follow him.
Won't dare the office for the pair of them, but...
Yeah, it's been a very unique day at the office for the Ferraris and the McLaren team as well. For Alexander, you have the Haas of Distinctive out of this race, Beavis, the Renault. There's been a couple of things now. Ifilipic has come in for a fresh set of softs, and this has essentially put Neon into lead of this race where he began this race. Ifilipic from 20th to 2nd now. 2 seconds the gap that Ifilipic will now need to hunt down, and Steph and Tim, the AlphaTauri 7-8 right now. Tim, who was just recently overtaken by Steph for 7th, are starting to catch up collectively to, well, at the very least Steph is. Tim pulling off a bit, but Steph has locked in on Mammal.
Yeah, I think Ifilipic has come in for the softs, not only so, just get onto some nice fresh softs that are probably very fun to drive around. He wants a battle with Neon, and there's not a huge risk for him. He comes out, if he's talking to Angel and Angel, I don't think I'm not sure whether the 2 racing points there are communicating, but Angel, if they are, would have been able to tell Ifilipic that Neon, he has 3 seconds less penalties than Ifilipic does, so this isn't a huge risk for him. The biggest risk this sort of poses for him, well, it's to his teammate. His teammate, Arnal, within 6 seconds right now of Ifilipic, and he's got no penalties, so as it stands, Arnal right now is in lead of this race on penalties. If the race was to finish now, he would win it. Whether we'll see Ifilipic just draw out that gap back to over 6 seconds, very possible, but
Ifilipic is one of the tightest gaps on grid right now, trying to find all the fights. Mammal is sticking with Steph coming down into turn 1, but there's not going to be enough there for him to make a move. XTXP sticking with Moen, but he's just taken a 3-second time penalty, and we're about to enter out of Sector 2 here. Look at the speed coming out of Ifilipic with the DRS, and he has a lot in this car right now.
Yeah, Neon's tyres aren't going to be feeling too hot either at the end of this race, so I can't see Filippic, you know, losing to Neon without a mistake coming out of the Croatian.
Yeah, he's just going to swallow up Neon here. Neon with a little bit of a push off to the inside, but DRS and full utilization for the Croatian driver does not give Neon really much of an opportunity. We'll check back in 2 seconds as Cactus is holding on to the final points position, holding off Hurricane. We take a look at the penalty situation. Hurricane has 20 seconds of penalties. Cactus really doesn't need to worry about this at the moment.
Penalties here. You can see nearly everyone has them. The person who might benefit quite a lot, Tim right now. He's got no penalties and there's fairly close gaps ahead of him. I want to see how he is going to fare. Steph, his teammate, only has 3 seconds. Still should jump him. I think he'll gain a couple of positions.
Hurricane in the 10th position now. He needs to make up a 20-second gap to stay in the points right now. That's huge.
Yeah, Hurricane. He needs to... If he gets outscored by 11 points or more, I think his championship hopes are over by Filippic. And, well, as it stands, that is cut and dry. His championship is over. As for Tim, I don't know what a little bit of maths here on stream, but I'm trying if I can work it out as to whether his opportunities are still alive.
For those of you who have all joined us here for Misfits Racing League action, thank you so much for hanging out with us. My name is Strifium here from Canada. Joining me with that lovely accent is, well, Unicorn from the UK, of course. And we hope you're enjoying this race. It is the first of 5 Mexican Grand Prix that we have coming to you this week. We have the Oceanic Tier 2 and Tier 1 splits taking to racing action on Thursday, with the Club Division wrapping up the racing action around Mexico on Friday. We also have the Endurance Series this Saturday. There is a ton of racing action happening here on the channel this week. And, well, this is realistically the... round is this? We're on round 19. No. 20? Yeah, 20. We're on round 20 of racing action for the Misfits Racing League Season 3. Mexico, Brazil, and then Abu Dhabi, and then we prepare for Season 4, and I can tell you right now there is a ton of very, very fun stuff coming for Season 4, and if you're following along on the Twitch, you will be a part of all of it. So thank you to everybody who's been tuning in. We greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a jam-packed season. It's been very exciting to be a part of Witness, and we've still got 2 more races left in this season alone. And like you said, we've got many more races coming this week. Mexico, it's provided a fair amount of entertainment here, and I can't wait to see the other grids have a go at this one. After a brief calculation, I think Tim would have had to have stayed within 5 points of Filippic, so as it stands, his championship will die out as well, or his championship run. Although second place, I think, might still be on the cards for him, given Hurricane's performance here.
This season has seen so many different drivers in that top 3, I think. I think even at one point we had the McLarens up there. And the McLarens have had a very, very up and down season. Much can be said considering where Alexander is currently sitting. He had an issue earlier in this race that happened between Ruben, if I'm not mistaken. Ruben has had a very up and down season. A lot of these racers have, well, this is the 15th round for this grid. This Thursday we take to the 20th round for the Tier 2 and Tier 1 divisions, and if anyone's had an up and down season, I'd say it's those 2 grids. Club as well. We've gone a full 20 with them.
Yeah, I think the opening of this season, it was anyone's game. You couldn't really separate, and obviously that's always the case, but after sort of the street races, you know, the Monaco, the Baku, that's when we started to see the drivers who got going for that championship bid start to really emerge. So I think it's been a strong season from all of these guys across the grids, and well, now it's coming to a close. We've had a very entertaining season and some very hard-fought title battles.
Felipe has just crossed into the final lap of this race. Take a look at the gap to leader right now. 3 drivers have been lapped. XTXP, No Conviction, and Moen are currently slated to take an early checkered flag. The rest of this grid, however, still fighting for their lives and fighting for those points. And the penalty situation in Hurricane's case could be quite the issue, but Cactus, 9 seconds himself. If Hurricane's able to pull out just a couple of more seconds here, he might just hold off. Actually, as it stands right now, he may just hold off Cactus. Or sorry, yeah. Hurricane may be able to collect that point. Actually, Ruben.
He needs 11 seconds.
Ruben is going to get it.
I think both of them will get Hurricane. Yeah, I think
Ruben's going to get the point, but I think Hurricane might drop off Cactus here into 12. And I try to ride along with Tim, but his engine has other plans for our eardrums here.
Well, Felipe is about to cross the line, and if my maths is correct, I think that is the EU Division
Neon
Championship winner decided.
Neon has just lost a P2. I think Neon might have just lost a P2 there because he had an issue out of the final turn.
He would have lost it anyway, but yeah, that's a very odd way to finish a race.
How did they... Wait a minute.
Wait. Did Felipe pick up another
I
penalty?
think he took... I think Felipe may have just gifted his teammate a win. That is...
He picked up a penalty on the last lap.
I think he may have done that intentionally, though.
Yeah. Penalty plus 2 warnings on the last lap.
Yeah, and I'm being told he slowed down. And that is going to be a hometown win, Mexico City on hell. The Mexican driver in Sergio Perez's car, taking the race win here around Mexico. You love to see it. Cactus now to the line behind is Ruben. How do things go? It's as predicted. Ruben will claim the final points position for the Scuderia. Whisper and Cotters will be the last 2 racers to come across the line here.
I still think, even with all that 7th down, I don't think 7th is enough. I think Felipe has still scored enough points here, but well, we said the penalties were going to play a role, and play a role they did in the end of that race.
Wow, what a race. Driver of the day to Felipe, 20th to 2nd. He crossed the line first, I do believe, and it was Vettel, a.k.a. Angel, taking the race win here around his home circuit. What a win. What a win for him. You love to see it. The hometown here getting the win. It's a Racing Point 1-2. Neon collects 3rd.
Yeah, for a long time, I think it was clear that that was going to be a Racing Point 1-2. Neon was the only real bump in the road for them, and even then, it doesn't. Felipe still picked up fastest lap as well from last on the grid. What a performance.
Yeah, fantastic performance by the Racing Point squad. Angel with the race win, the Mexican around home. You love to see it. The Croatian of Felipe, I do believe, has secured the European Championship for the drivers, at the very least. Neon from first dropping to 3rd. There wasn't much that could stop the 2 Racing Points today. They had some very unique strategy calls over there. Jake in 4th, Mario 5th, Steph in 6th. We have Tim in 7th. Right behind him, it's a 6-7 for the AlphaTauris. Mammal in 8th. Dirk Chocolate from 14th to 9th. You can't fault him. He had a stellar drive in the Red Bull. He only took 1 3-second time penalty. I think he was going for the clean drive. Right behind him, the South African, the winner of Monaco. Well, Ruben, 10th position from 7th. Very unique race with him. Cactus, 11th from 16th in his reserve roll over at Renault for Safso today. Hurricane from 4th to 12th. Whisper, 8th to 13th. Cotters dropped off a position here as well. XTXP making up 2 positions. No Conviction, 15th to 16th. Mo and Beavis Distinctive, Moen actually 18th to 17th. Beavis, Distinctive, and Alexander retiring in this one. That was a very, very up and down race, I have to say. We saw a lot of different strategy plays there. But I just have to say it's a massive congratulations today for the 2 racing points. Filipich 20th to first to the line. Penalties, I think he definitely helped out his teammate. He got that racing point teamwork in there. He didn't need the win. He just needed a certain amount of points. On hell, takes the win for his home Mexican Grand Prix. You just love to see it, Unicorn. Let's have your take on it.
Yeah, that was, I mean, either way, you know, the Racing Point 1-2, like you say, Angel, the home win, it's just a little bit sweeter than just a classic win, isn't it? Knowing that that's probably the closest F1 track to you, and just, yeah, he's gonna be absolutely thrilled to bits with that one. And obviously, we can't forget Filipich drives from last on the grid. The opening stage probably meant that he got a little bit less overtaking action throughout the race, but after that first safety car, the race went mostly clean, and I think that's a little bit of a sigh of relief, not only for us, but the drivers in not only this race, but the upcoming races as well, where they might have thought after those practice races that it might have been a little bit more treacherous in terms of overtaking, but most drivers keeping it clean. Obviously, a little bit of wheel banging here and there, a few spins coming out of the drivers, but mostly tame affair, and it still was, you know, provided an excellent bit of excitement. And I do believe, obviously, the calculations fall with penalties applied, whatever happens after the race. I do think that Filipich has won the championship, but obviously that'll be confirmed later in the week once, like I say, everything's said and done. But what a strong drive from both the racing points. Neon as well, it's easy to, you know, forget the 3rd place, but a super strong drive from him to, you know, he got pole, obviously not able to hold them off, but still a podium for him, a very nice drive out of him.
Well, that is the Mexican Grand Prix, the first Mexican Grand Prix out of 5 Mexican Grand Prix this week, and we have got 4 more to come to you, of course. With that all being said, help us out. Hit that follow button if you enjoyed. Join the Discord. Race in the Misfits Racing League. We're looking for reserves, full-time racers all the time, and we have a ton of community events going on all the time. We are going to head off and raid a member of the community, of course. That today is going to be Mr. Darian Alfie. So please join us in heading on over there, giving him the love, showing him the Misfits community cares about all the racers in F1. We've been raiding so many people recently. Darian, he's been in the community a long time, so we're going to go and give him some love. So please join us in doing that, and we will see you all on Thursday.